Okay, so today's video is very unusual. It doesn't contain a poem. I'm going to read a 2-paragraph communication that I found completely beautiful and to me describes very important fundamentals about life that I normally don't find outside of my church. I'm a Scientologist and I don't normally find these concepts outside of what I study. So I was very happy and amazed to find it. Now, if you don't like video games, you may find this surprising. And if you love video games, well, you might understand it, but you also might find it surprising. I found it not surprising because I love video games and I play them. And just for the record, many video games, for those who don't like them or don't understand them, they are like playing a book. And the best ones are playing fantastic fiction and walking through a story that is told and that you are playing and interacting with. So food for thought. Yes, there are the shoot 'em games and all that kind of stuff, and I don't play those. But there is a tremendous aspect of video games that is playing a book. So there you go. Now, background on this is going to sound insane, and it is, but what this person is going to communicate in these 2 paragraphs is just beautiful. Now, there's a game. It's called Final Fantasy VII. If you don't know what that is, it doesn't matter. It's just a game. And there are characters you get to play. This is one of those books you get to play. And as they progress through the story, they level up. They get stronger and tougher and all this kind of stuff. And they do that by winning battles against monsters. And you can get very high in the levels. You can get up to level 99. You start at 1. And as you go up, it requires more and more not necessarily more battles. It requires you to fight tougher monsters to get enough experience to become stronger. Because if you just, go and smush ants all day, it gives you this much experience. And maybe early on, that maybe a bunch of ants, because you can't really fight ants because you're not very strong, and you get a couple levels. But later, as you're super tough, those same ants, they don't give you any experience, so you don't level fighting those. You got to go fight like dragons and other stuff in order to level up. So there was a fellow, and he decided he was going to, in the very first little tiny part of the game, he was going to do only battles there and take these characters, 2 of them, because you only have 2 at this particular point. He was going to take them to level 99. Now that's crazy because you only get, with each battle, you get about 80 points of experience. And to get to level 99, you need about 2.5 million experience points. So, and each battle took a certain amount of time. And basically, the math was that to do this feat, it did take hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours to do this. Just walking back and forth in a little small area and getting into battle after battle after battle. The battles weren't difficult. Eventually, like in short order, they became pointless. Like, there's no challenge of any kind. The challenge was, can a person do that? Now, one person started off. Now this is a little backstory to the thing. And I know this is quite a lead up, but it's worth it, trust me, what this person has to say. So this one guy, and I'm going to say his name, so he's on a forum online. And in the gamer community, they're a little rough around the edges, and they're a very particular kind of culture. So he used a name that contains a curse word. I'm going to say it. I just wanted to prep you. Because you can make up your name on these forums and you're anonymous and all this kind of stuff. So this one guy, he goes, his name is Dick Tree. And he's like, I'm going to level to 99, and it gets attention, and people are like, oh my gosh, you're going to do that in that one area? That's incredible. And they follow him, and he starts to make progress, and he starts to make progress over days and weeks and a few months. And then it sort of peters off, and people gave him a hard time, and he got upset at them, and it all became a big rigmarole. And eventually it was fairly clear that he really wasn't going to pursue this to the end, because the amount of perseverance it would take is bordering on nuts. So then this other guy steps in, and he says, this guy's not going to do it. I am. And his username is CirclMastr. Just a name he chose. And it's spelled funny, and I'm going to put his essay in the description of the video. But that's his name. And he says, I'm going to do it. And then he set off to do it. And it took regular playing for hours at a time. It took 1.5 years for him to do it. And I mean, the dedication of focus and willingness, and like he went through in his own personal life at one stretch, he injured his arm and his shoulder. He had to play this game one-handed with a controller. It wasn't that difficult, but I'm saying, like, he went through some things in his life. He eventually had to have surgery on his shoulder. He went through a lot of things, personally, but he kept at it no matter what. And so he finally achieved it. And he was recording it, and people were watching live while he was doing it. And it was quite a moment, because people had followed him all this time. And he achieved this thing that this other fellow who he felt let down the community and posed as something that he really wasn't going to do, and caused some tumult. So he wrote this that I'm going to read now. And I find it beautiful, because you go, that's insane and that's stupid, and no one should do what he did. Fair enough, but listen to what he had to say. Life does not have inherent meaning. To say that our lives are pointless and our achievements meaningless is to state the obvious. No matter how grand our achievements or how broad their scope, time turns all to dust and death destroys all memory. But that does not mean we cannot ascribe our own meaning to what we do. It is because nothing has meaning unto itself that we are free to create meaning, to make metaphor, and in doing so reflect on ourselves and our world. Leveling to 99 in the first reactor, the first section, is pointless and meaningless. So why do I do it? I do it to express my hatred and, more importantly, my disdain for Dictory. I do it to express the camaraderie I feel for those of us who have followed this topic for years, only to be disappointed by him. I do it to prove to myself that I can persevere. The act is meaningless. I give it meaning. And I just find that amazing. He took whatever, maybe his anger, maybe his disappointment, he took whatever else, but he also took that he was going to persevere no matter what. And he did. And it's pretty incredible, because his expression of this tells me he's not insane. I don't think a crazy person could really express this as crystal clear and succinctly and understand that about the world. So it tells me, it also then asks the question, which of us would be able to do that? Which of us would be able to perform a feat like this? And you go, well, that's degraded and it's a video game and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Can you do something similar in your field, in your realm, in something that you like? And you go, well, yes, I can name a bunch of things. But can you do a task so menial, so low, so ridiculous, and do it for 10-hour stretches, as he often did, for 1.5 years, and dedicate yourself to something? I find it impressive, and I don't find it just like impressive, like some sort of gross act. I find it amazing. So, food for thought. That's me. You don't have to find it amazing. You can continue to find it ridiculous. But with his expression of what happened and why he was doing it, backing it up, I find it incredible. Hope you enjoyed.